Jane Little in Washington for us. Police investigating the murders of two unarmed teenagers in Brazil's biggest city, Sao Paulo, have arrested 8 of their own officers. There are suggestions that police were complicit in the killings. Security camera footage broadcast on national TV shows 2 armed men in motorbike helmets making the victims put their hands up, then shooting them at close range. A police car is stationed nearby. It then drives off without intervening. And Brazilian police investigating the rape and robbery of a foreign tourist on a minibus in Rio de Janeiro have arrested a 3rd person. The woman's boyfriend was handcuffed and badly beaten in the attack. The couple's identities and nationalities have not yet been disclosed. Gary Duffy reports from Brazil.
Rio de Janeiro is moving centre stage, preparing to host both World Cup games and then the Olympics in 2016. But an attack on 2 young tourists has caused shock, even in a city long used to violence. After catching a minibus in the world-famous Copacabana district, their ordeal began and was to last 6 hours. The man was handcuffed and beaten with an iron bar, the woman repeatedly raped. It seems when the limit was reached on the couple's credit cards, they were taken back to the apartment they were sharing to get more. Police say the men in custody are suspected of involvement in another rape and using the licensed van to rob others. Meanwhile, it's reported that the victims may have already left the country. The horrific nature of the attack has raised awkward questions for the authorities in Rio. In recent years, a policy of pacification, where control of some of the city's shantytowns has been taken back from drug traffickers, has helped create a mood of optimism. Such a violent rape and robbery is undoubtedly a setback, but the authorities will hope that by quickly arresting suspects, they can reassure both Brazilians and people watching around the world. Gary Duffy, BBC News, Brazil.
Well, just a short time ago, I spoke to the Americas editor for BBC World Service Radio, Leonardo Rocha. I asked him for his reaction to the violence in Brazil.
The attack is quite unusual. It's not, you have robberies on buses in Brazil and on minibuses that tend to be safer, but it's quite unusual, and the fact that it happened to a foreign tourist raised alarm bells, and the police were very efficient and quick in solving that crime. The 3 people accused have now been arrested. But the main concern for everyone there, of course, is the World Cup next year and the Olympics in 2016. The Brazilian government, they pulled together with armed forces, local forces, and since 2010 they have been trying to get rid of the worst of the violence, the drug-related violence in the slums of Rio, the favelas. And that has been successful. Crime rates, homicides, robberies, they've all gone down. But recently things took a bad turn with problems with infrastructure, stadium being closed, the roof might be collapsing and all that, and now the problem with security. That's a main concern for people, and the image of Brazil abroad is a main concern for the Brazilian government and the people there. And
still with Rio for a moment, obviously terrible for those concerned, but people are going to worry. Are you saying, broadly speaking, in the context, people should not be so concerned about security in Rio?
No, it is a violent city. It's a big city with lots of poverty, and it's always been an issue in Rio. But it's a lot better than it used to be, and many people see that as an isolated incident. This gang is a criminal gang that had been operating for some months. All the victims have emerged, but is not out of control.
Just very briefly, though, turning, if we can, to Sao Paulo, Brazil's biggest city. The implications of that incident are not going to give people confidence in the police, are they?
In São Paulo, it's a more serious situation, I think, because the police there have been engulfed in a war with a very powerful criminal gang that controls the jails for some years now, and that seems to be escalating, and the number of homicides are on the rise in São Paulo, and we can't forget that that's where the opening match of the World Cup next year is due to take place.
Leonardo Rocha, America's editor for BBC World Service.